Carrie, did you get the vote? 4-0. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, now we'll go back to item D, CNA to approve the FEDC agreement for City Park Edition.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now that we've got an exhibit formalized, this can move forward. What you've got in your packet, there's a little bit of information filled in that I'll go through here. But this is the agreement that was essentially reached when we had the workshops and the meeting that was going on at the same time, and coming out to actually formalize the agreement between the city and the FEDC on their providing of some of the funding to us. This agreement contains everything that was set forth on what the duties and responsibilities of each party are. Essentially what it breaks down to is the FEDC is providing funding and the city is managing the project and construction and everything. What we will have to do is provide just a monthly update to the FEDC to say this is what's going on, these are the funds that were expended, things of that nature, so that they can report, because they're the bondholders, they're the ones that are issuing the bonds, and so if their bondholders were to have any questions or anything, they're able to provide that information. There is a blank, if you notice, it's a highlighted section on page 5, that's the corporation's contributions. That's that 1.43 million on there, and it would be deliverable 30 days after the bonds are sold. That's deliverable to the city. And so that was the last remaining blank.
30 days or 60 days?
30 days. From the date that the bonds are sold, that money, it'll hit the FEDC's account, and they'll have to deliver it to the city in our account within 30 days from then.
And what was the amount again for that blank?
1.43 million, 1,430,000.
Thank you.
So after we go to market here, then the bond seller holds it for 30 days?
No, it'd be delivered to the FEDC, wired from the purchaser to the FEDC, and from the time it hits the FEDC's account, they have 30 days to deliver it to the city. And it'll be in 2017, yeah. Because we have to do, we reached that $10 million cap that we can take out in funding every year. And so these bonds will be issued, or they'll go to market sometime between November and the end of the year. They'll be sold, but the purchaser cannot deliver the funds to the FEDC since they're part of the city until after January 3rd, and then 30 days after that date, the FEDC will have to deliver those funds to the city.
We have to wait 30 days?
From January 3rd, maximum. They could turn around and wire it the next day, or transfer it through the accounts the next day. It's just, it puts that outer limit on there.
Thank you.
And from the FED standpoint, we have no reason to, once we get that money, to hold it, so it'll be issued to the city within a day or so of us receiving it, be sure it's in the account.
So you have 30 days, but you don't have to wait 30 days.
Right,
Is that right?
and we would not unless it involved paperwork or something.
If the bank put a hold on it, because they didn't.
Yeah, you want to make money on it.
Mr. Baker, just for clarification purpose to the members of the council and members of the audience, your funding source comes from where? The 1.43 million that you're financing, where do you get that money from?
The sale of the bond, and at this point, we don't, it's going to go out for bid.
Right.
And then my board will decide what is in the best interest of FEDC as far as the amount won't be negotiable, but the interest rate will.
Right. But I'm
We're
saying,
hoping.
what is your revenue source to pay that 1.43 million?
Your sales tax.
Sales tax. And we budgeted that for a 20-year payout, which is what the bond will be.
So if somebody shops at Walmart or H-E-B or Bell's or anything, that small portion of the bill at the bottom is paying for the park.
That's right.
Any other questions?
Council? Ready?
So moved, Madam Madam Mayor, to approve the FEDC agreement for City Park Edition.
Thank you. May I have a second?
So move.
I have a motion and a second. Any citizens' comments? None? All right.
There's
Just
one.
comment.
There's one.
Thank you. Step up and state your name, please.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to Councilman Cantu for asking me to be on the Park Planning Committee, which we met once this month, so thank you very much. I also wanted to bring to your attention some of the maintenance that I've seen at the park. I have some pictures, I don't know if you want to see them, but there's an area specifically that goes from the entrance up into the swimming pool that the trees are just overlapping. So it's kind of hard for the kids. I mean, I'm sure the kids don't mind it, don't really notice it, but me as an adult and as an aunt that takes my little nephew, notice those things. And the Lions Park area, there's a lot of overgrowth along the park itself. So I don't know if you could just, relay to your Parks Department to have some of that area cleaned, because there's even an area where, I saw rodents and cat. Last night I went by the park just to see if some of that had been taken care of. And then, not to mention the just where the flag is, there's a lot of weeds that have just grown up, to where it would be nice to have some of that area cleaned up. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe.
Any other citizens' comments? All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the FEDC agreement for City Park Edition? All those opposed? Motion carries. 4-0. Thank you. All right, Mr. Ortiz, are you ready for yours? No?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move,
Move,
item L, CNA to approve ordinance 2016-01011, amending ordinance 207 cemetery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, staff, and guests. We tabled this item last couple of meetings ago. And on that item, Council was referring to veterans. And after further review and questions asked, I decided to add the first responders to this burial benefits. And at this time, Chris, can you come to the podium and assist me on this one, where we're going?
Yes, Councilman. And so I got with Councilman Ortiz and we went over this. And so if you look on page 5 on the fee schedule, there's an additional line on there that wasn't on the previous one that you received. And it's for a Floresville police officer, firefighter, or member of the armed forces killed in the line of duty. And that would be a free burial at the Floresville City Cemetery, just because those are individuals who obviously gave their life in the defense of Floresville. And so Councilman Ortiz thought it was warranted that they should definitely be given that honor. We talked about it after, and after this draft got in your packet, he also had discussed with me about the same, the discount that's on there for veterans also be applied to first responders because they are putting their lives on the line of duty. And so that's not in the printed one, but I have handwritten notes, and if approved with those changes, they would be in the one that's presented as the formal one for City Council. Another thing that was discussed that time was the residency and how to show that, and there were some questions about, well, if somebody was enlisted from Floresville and was gone and something happened, they should still be entitled to burial for the discounted price in the city cemetery. And so we did include a DD 214 showing your enlistment location, and that would be acceptable for proof of residency. I think that's all the points. Was there anything else?
Right, and I've been talking to the chief and the chief of police and the fire chief, And we want to make a time where they have to serve just as the military does, 3 years. So we want to add that too for the volunteers and the first responders.
And my apologies, Councilman, you have this because I have that in my notes. Sorry, I didn't mention. Yes, it would be a 3-year service minimum to be eligible for the
Right.
discount on it. I don't believe killed in the line of duty, it wouldn't apply because you always have no control over your length of service, unfortunately, there.
But, and I want to ask the council too, how they feel on this, going back as far as we can, because they deserve this plus more. So if 10 years is good, you know, that we could go back for those that volunteered their time for the city and the community, that would be good. But it's
As long as there's records to
Right.
show that these individuals served, then they would be eligible for it.
Chief, your thoughts?
He's back there.
How far can y'all go on y'all's records?
On personnel records?
Right.
City Hall should have records as far as that goes.
And,
As long as you've been an employee, they should have records.
Okay.
75 years.
how about the fire chief?
You should be able to go back at least 10.
Okay, that's,
I'd have to find out for sure.
okay.
At least 10.
So I think we can get them
Okay.
pretty well square. And if there's not official records, but enough people in the community knew that this person was there and will submit affidavits, that could obviously be applied as well.
And I just want to say thank you, and the community and council, of course, wants to thank y'all for y'all's time and sacrifice. We honestly appreciate it,
Hopefully never used, but
but it's there.
Thank you.
Having said that, we have a motion, and please read the,
Okay, my question would be, Madam Mayor, how do we communicate to the, I guess, to the funeral homes, or do we leave it in the responsibility of the organizations, or?
it would
what's
be,
the coordination?
when they come to purchase the plot, and they come to submit the fees, it'll be on there as the list of fees, so they'd be able to see if the individual is a service member. Now, it would be up to the family to inform either the city or the funeral home, if the funeral home's handling it, because unless somebody knows that the person was a veteran or a police officer or something, we can't, go for there. So somebody would have to be notified.
And this becomes effective?
It would become effective, I have it set on here as October 1st, just because it's the start of a new month on there.
Plus, I'm sorry.
So would that apply to both city secretaries?
Yeah, anything that's run by the city, yes, where our schedule of fees applies.
And if I could, Councilman Tahada, we have a section on our website that lists things we can, of course, list this and attach that. We have 2 local funeral homes I know, and we can share that with them as well. And the ladies up front that sell them, we can make that available.
And I wanted to be on the record that we accommodate 25 plots as the start of this program.
I'm sorry, did you allocate 25?
Like a reserve,
A
25.
reserve.
The thing would be, sometimes people like to select where their plots would be, whether they be free and or discounted rate. They usually will select. We don't have necessarily a designated area, but sometimes people like to select.
We have an empty space on that corner of Paloma Drive, and I think it's the senior apartments. That area over there?
So you want to allocate it to be there?
Exactly.
What if somebody wanted to be close to?
Nobody's there now.
You could always choose to be outside, but that would be a
Okay, so-
parentally reserved.
A dedicated spot for our,
Yes, we can do
Not
that.
the whole area,
No,
right,
no.
just a section.
Yes, we
Once
can
we
do
get
it.
it plotted in
And then
section.
25 plots, yes, sir. We'll
25
make that
plots
note
to
in
start.
the ordinance as well.
is that for, the city of Floresville, just for the city?
yes.
Yes.
You have to live inside the city.
Inside the city. There are residency requirements
Right.
already for
Can you,
burial in the
can
city
you go over
cemetery.
those ones
Yeah.
first?
We have, in 94.02E is only residents of the city of Floresville may purchase lots in the city cemetery. Prior to the purchase of the lots, the resident must provide a valid form of identification and current water bill from the city of Floresville as proof of residence. Exceptions to this requirement include presentation of a DD 214 showing a home of record of Floresville at the time enlistment, or residency in a senior care or veterans care facility located within the city of Floresville. And that was done because at the last meeting, there was discussion of how do we prevent just everybody from coming in and buying up these cheap plots. And then it would, if a resident of Floresville that was eligible wanted one, but there was no longer any available, they'd be left out. So,
Oh, Chris, can the council okay it if the city were to give a certificate to those that have served, that already have served, and present it to them so they can be in record in City Hall?
that would be a separate issue, a separate CNA to go through, because then we have to go through a verification process and allocate staff resources to, contact Department of Defense. It can be done, we'll just need a CNA
Sure.
at a future meeting.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
We're not there yet. From the council, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, any other questions from the council? All right, then,
And I'll read the ordinance caption in, and
all
then
right,
With the-
this will be
please.
ordinance 2016-11, an ordinance of the city of Floresville, Texas, amending chapter 94 of the city's code of ordinances as further set forth in ordinance 207, establishing a fee schedule, amending the fees charged for burial plots, establishing a separate fee for veterans and a dependent, and then adding establishing a separate fee for first responders, clarifying, amending, and establishing rules for acceptable displays at grave sites, and establishing an effective date.
May I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, it's an honor to make this motion, so I so move.
May I have a second?
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Citizens' comments? None? All right. May I have a vote? All those in favor? Raise your right hand. Vote opposed? 4-0. 4-0. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great timely service.
All right, we will go back up to item F. CNA to approve the statement of qualifications for Heartland Contractor Hayes.
Thank you.
Engineering.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. For the senior condition.
Yes, ma'am, this is something we need to do to move forward. We do have, again, Heartland's here for Hayes Engineering. The city attorney has reviewed the qualifications. This is one of the things we need to do so that we can move forward with this park project. So if you have any questions, it's just something that we need to do so that we can continue with this park project.
And I believe the city is contracting directly with Hayes Engineering for this.
Chris, did you review the qualifications?
Yeah, they appear to be qualified. I know Heartland, you guys have worked with them extensively in the past.
Yes.
This is a professional service, so it's not subject to bidding requirements and things like that.
They're the engineer of record for a number of cities throughout Texas, including the city of Longview, very reputable engineering firm.
And they've gone through all the federal vettings. I know they've done
Yes.
federal projects and everything.
There's no discussion, Madam Mayor, so move to approve the statement of qualifications for Heartland Contractor Hayes Engineering for the city park addition.
May I have a second?
Second?
Citizens' comments? None? All right. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item G.
Okay, Mayor, this is actually me. I get to stand up here this time.
CNA to approve the request to Wilson County for in-kind contributions to the new city park addition.
Yes, Mayor and City Council. As you know, when FEDC did the survey that talked about the park as preparing for this park plan, it came out in the survey that a lot of people use the parks in the city of Floresville, but that necessarily don't live in the city of Floresville. Wilson County residents use these parks as well. And so having conversations with the county judge and the county commissioner, especially Commissioner File, he said that he would actually sponsor this in kind. Now, what this means is that they, of course, I would love to them to write me a check, but they said that due to their budget constraints, they can't. So this is kind of like sweat equity in kind, and so they will be doing some of the demolition that we have to do with their trucks and removal of dirt. They have agreed to do so. They have put it on their agenda for next Monday, but I needed you all to say that that's to approve it, then I can go ask them for that, and I'll be presenting to them as well, this wonderful plan that you all approved for tonight. So this is an in-kind that we can use for the grant, for that they'll help us move dirt, and it'll be like sweat equity. They'll let us use some of their equipment, and they'll let us use some of their employees to do some of the demolition. And this will help us with the grant as well. The city attorney prepared it.
And this is a draft resolution. Obviously, the county, since it's their resolution, if they want to change things and mark things up, they can do so. This is just a draft that I've prepared for you to review to kind of see what we're requesting the county to donate to the park.
No, Madam Mayor, but anywhere we can receive assistance on this project, I support that. And I motion that we support that resolution 2016-012.
Would you read the first paragraph?
And we don't actually need to. You can if you want, but since it'll be Wilson County's resolution, it doesn't go with the formalities of a Floresville resolution.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any citizens' comments? None. All those in favor? Raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Next, item H, CNA to approve resolution 2016-011, adopting a name for the new city park expansion. Councilman Ortiz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, staff, and guests. I just want to say that early in my life, I had with family responsibilities. I choose to serve my country by joining the military. Serving our country has been a tradition in our family. My dad, my brothers and sisters. This in turn started my lifelong dedication to those who served and sacrificed. I have been instrumental in projects which honor our veterans, such as the Veterans Memorial Monument, the naming of the event center, and others. Along the same line, I recommend that we adopt the Veterans Park for the new city park. That will be the name, the Veterans Park. Plain and simple. Do we have any questions?
I think we should table this and discuss it further.
Let's discuss it now. Do you support the veterans?
I do, but
Thank you.
I think we should table it.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Okay, we have a motion to table the naming, adopting a name for the city park expansion.
May I say something, Madam Mayor?
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'm gonna support the second, not because I don't support the veterans, because my dad was in the military for 24 years, but I just think more discussion needs to go into how we're naming it. We put a committee together to put the park together and talk about the park project, so I think that'd be a good task for them to do if they want to name this park, and if they choose to name it the Floresville Veterans Park, then I would definitely be supportive of it.
Me
So I'm gonna second Ms. Cantu's motion.
Okay, do I have any citizens' comments? None. All in favor of tabling, adopting a name for the city park expansion, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Okay, we have one opposed, 2 for, and 1 abstain. Motion carries to table. Okay. Item I, CNA to approve budget amendment number ordinance 2016-19, 019. Ms. Connie?
Mayor, council, the ordinance that you have in front of you is a ordinance that is done regularly at the end of the year, and this is only to recognize any overages on revenue collected across the funds. So this ordinance reflects that. Do you have any questions on any specific line item?
Council, any questions on the amendment number 9?
If you go ahead and allow me, if you want, I can go fund by fund on what's the total bottom line added to the fund on revenues, if that's something that you would like for me to do.
You're just zeroing out each fund, correct?
Yes. I went fund by fund.
It's a housekeeping thing we can do as we get ready to close out this year, so we need to do so as we close out this year.
All these budget amendments, is this it, or will there be
No,
others later?
you have 3.
No, I know we have several on the agenda, but is this it for the year?
Yes, these 3 are, that's it for the year.
Thank
We
you.
don't have any more council meetings, any more time to do any others. And if you like, I can talk about all 3 budget amendments, and then you can approve them all together, if you would like to do that.
Sounds good.
Well,
Which one?
I don't think we can do by consent, right? Can we do all 3 by consent?
No, since they're ordinances, they have to be done individually.
Okay. So do we have any questions on number 9? Yes, I'm sorry. It's agenda ordinance amendment number 9.
Connie, this one adds 316,000 to the fund balance, right? For the general fund?
Yes,
So that's what you were talking about during the financials.
Yes.
It looks like it's gone down, but we're gonna be adding a lot
Yes.
more back into the fund.
and this is, it's like city manager said, this is housekeeping. I have to do these on the month of September, so that way, by the time that the auditors come in, the books are clean.
But your numbers do not reflect this 316,000, right, for the end of August?
Right, you could not do that until you approve your budget amendment, and this is an additional revenue that we had inspected for deposits and not negative.
And as it is, I waited until the last minute, because I went just exactly how much was over. So we might have a little bit more over on a line item, but it's not so grossly over. So that's okay.
Over's good.
Over is good. I make a
Yes.
motion to approve.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
A second?
All right, any citizens' comments? None, may I have a vote? All those in favor of approving it, raise your right hand. Any opposition? 4-0, motion carries. So on to the next one, item J, CNA to approve budget amendment number 10, ordinance 2016-020.
Okay. This budget amendment is there were two police cars purchased for the 2015-2016 year. We had budget one car and half of the other one. Actually, we budget $50,000 for police cars. I'm sorry. So the agreement with the police chief was that we were gonna purchase one and half of the other one, and he was gonna come up with the other half. Since that was also budgeted on the tax note of 2015, the first tax note, so this budget is to bring in those funds into general fund. Because right now, the capital outlay at the Department of the Police Department, it's overspent. So this is money that needs to be refunded to general fund. This is not the vehicles that were budgeted for the tax note of 2016. This is something that we agreed at the beginning of the budget workshops for 2015-2016.
So y'all are moving it back to the general?
To the general fund, correct, because these funds are owed to the general fund.
From the tax note money, from the first one that we did the $1 million for the engineering fees, and we said we had one car, 1.5 cars in the current budget that we're in right now. So the chief had to come up with the other half of the car. He came up with the other half, and so we need to have this budget amendment to transfer those funds to replenish it, because we bought the cars already.
Okay, I make a motion to approve this budget number 10. I have a motion, do I have a second to approve amendment number 10?
A second?
Okay, any citizens comments? Yes, ma'am, would you step up, please? Up to the podium.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I was just gonna ask, are the vehicles purchased here in the city and are they county? Or?
No, they're purchased through a state program for emergency vehicles. So the state gives a program and you purchase them through the state procurement program. It's a state process. So
You guys have to go out of town?
we have to go to whoever the state tells us to go to. Yes, and it's not in town.
So who can change that?
Well, actually, you get a volume discount for the state, and the state sets the price. And so some of these cars are stripped to certain basics so that they don't load up everything. But they use a state procurement program but you can choose not to use it if you want to, but that's how they've been purchasing the vehicles, through the state procurement.
Yeah, Mr. Ortiz, like none of the local dealerships stocking in these cars, it'd be like a special order, so it wouldn't really, I'm not saying it wouldn't benefit them, but it'd be more of a hassle, because they really don't stock these kind of cars, these other dealerships, they specialize in these types of vehicles.
Because they come on and basically they have to add all this stuff on to, yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it's a state program.
Any other citizens' comments? None, all right, take a vote, all those in favor of approving amendment number 10, ordinance 2016-020? All right, none opposed, motion carries 4-0. Item K, CNA to approve budget amendment number 11, ordinance 2016-021.
Okay. This budget amendment, and I'm always afraid to even say it, but this budget amendment is to bring in funds to replace the expenditures done on the code compliance truck that we had purchased with the money of the coin machines. Because if you want to talk about it, yes, because I don't want to.
You want to start from the inception?
Oh, there you go.
We're running good on time.
So this one is mine, essentially, because what happens is state law, when we go back, says that those 8-liner funds that we receive can only be used for enforcement of code compliance. So when the truck got transferred over to the police department and the officer got transferred over to the police department as well, now that money has to be reimbursed to the code compliance section. So there's actually, Connie, on here, we can probably, if we want to do an amendment right now to this, we can actually save $2,000 out of that, because I just checked the Blue Book value, and that's all we have to account for is the fair market value, which going off of Kelly Blue Book. So the $51,494 was the purchase price. It's gone down in value about $2,041 from what I checked. So the code compliance only has to be reimbursed that amount on there.
And now Kelly Blue Book will cut your check.
And that,
You get it all back.
that,
So then the amendment to the budget will be 48,000?
49,433 is what I've got.
Okay, but we just passed an org chart that included a compliance officer again.
Then we can move the truck away from the police, but in our workshops, they were told that they'd be receiving the truck.
Yes.
So once we hire that person, we're gonna have to go buy a car?
That's not legal. I can say that. Ms. Turner, if you want to.
Probably won't buy them a four-wheel truck such as this and this
Why
dollar
not?
amount. Because, again, I'll say for the record, does it take long? The police department, Lieutenant Evans spec'd that truck. And actually, ironically, Lieutenant Evans is driving that truck in the police department. So there probably will be some type of vehicle, but I will come back to you when we're ready to make a recommendation to the council on what that vehicle would be.
Yeah, I remember local compliance had like little two-row SUV, like Ford Escapes or E-Crosses.
Yeah, I really haven't, I need the body first, but we'll be looking at some of those, and we'll be looking at them starting October 1, and we'll be bringing that back to the council. But for this particular reason, that truck has been transferred to the police department. That personnel has been returned to the police department, and therefore we need to make this correction for the budget.
And what was said on the budget workshop was that truck, once it was moved to the police department, it was gonna be part of the number of vehicles that the police department was gonna get out of the tax note 2016. So that's what's reflecting this budget amendment. If there's another decision, and then you're gonna have to table that budget amendment.
Okay, the tax note said 2 cars,
2 cars and a truck.
the truck being this one that was already here.
So that would be 3 total, correct?
Yes, the truck that was here,
And 2 new.
But the proceeds are going back to that fund, right, to that department, or?
Going back to that point.
And that's so that when the auditors come in, it's an esoteric little part of law, but it's my job to make sure that if they catch that, we've already gotten it taken care
And
of.
so, and the vehicle that we may purchase for the code enforcement officer can come from
It
that
can come
fund.
out of this 49,000.
But not all.
But I don't have
But
that.
the code compliance officer's salary, the new one, whenever he gets hired on, can come out of this as
No,
well.
that's what I'm saying, his salary can come out of that and the vehicle.
Correct.
Not just
What's the
vehicle.
amount, 49?
55. Oh, these,
49,
49,
433.
49.
I have a question. So that dollar amount's gonna come out of that loan? Is that correct?
It's out of the tax note,
Okay.
not out of the police department budget.
Right.
Yeah, and
All
I
right,
wanna
thank
just, for clarification, when the truck was purchased, it was actually expensed on the development, community development department. And then, because of all the conversations, that was moved through a journal entry to police department. So now we have that debt in police department. So we need to replace that money in there. And also, before we finish, since we're talking with tax note 2015, I want to go ahead and let you know that the funds came in for these tax notes. And because I act as an investor for the city, I have invested $3 million, and I have invested it already for over 8 days, which we are compounding interest, so we're earning interest over interest. So hopefully by September 30, we have a good, healthy interest coming out of that money.
is that that class account?
Yes, that's the one that you signed.
So for this discussion, Madam Mayor, can I make a motion?
Yes, please.
I so move to approve budget amendment number 11, ordinance 2016-021.
Do they need to say the
Do we need to mention the amount?
since it's changed?
No, because of the ordinance when it actually gets signed, you have to.
Okay, we have a,
Go ahead and second.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any citizens' comments? All right, none. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, item M, CNA to appoint member to FEDC. Councilman Vidal?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I was informed that one of the board members resigned due to personal reasons. And I'd like to make a nomination,
Who was that?
Mr. Jake Pullen. I'd like to nominate Scott Gleason.
Is he here tonight? No.
I don't see him. And I asked him to send in the application
I
form.
have it.
Okay.
He brought it in, but I didn't put it in your package to bring it, because I didn't see when he checked off FEDC. He checked off P and Z.
Okay, well, no, it was an error, but yeah.
That's why I would have brought it to y'all today, because it just came in today.
So I move on nominate Scott Gleason.
So we have a,
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second to appoint Scott Gleason to the FEDC. Any citizen comments? All right, all in favor? Raise your right hand. All opposed? 4-0, motion carries. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I will.
All right, second. All in favor?
And who seconded?
Yes,
Who did the second?
I think Danny did.
Danny did.
Okay.
Motion carries, and it is 8:36.
Okay, council, I have a quick question. Who,
the bond.
who made the first motion? Mr. Coon, who was sitting down there? I know, but Councilwoman Cantu did the second. I didn't do the first. I didn't see.